sure, because I took one of these personality career assessments that you do in middle school called Job-O. Does anybody remember Job-O, where you fill in the bubble and based off of this thing, they would put it through one of these old Scantrons and it'd spit out what you're going to do for your life, right? So I did this thing 2 times when I was 14 years old, and both times it came out airline pilot. So I was probably an okay student before, but I thought, geez, I mean, you got to be pretty smart, you know, to be a pilot. So I started to pay attention in school a little bit, and I'd never had a job before. My very first job when I was 15 years old was at a gator farm, a real working gator farm called Gatorland Zoo. Does anybody know Gatorland Zoo? Yeah, really? With the gator jumperoo show and everything? Oh, it's great. So this was my first foray really into hospitality. I absolutely worked in the retail store. I sold fish, frozen fish, so that people could throw it out and feed the alligators. I drove a little miniature train. We had a little piece of bread that we'd throw to the deer. There were other animals as well. And I ultimately had a chance to work on the alligator insemination program, which I don't like to talk about too much. But that was my very first job. And then I ultimately went to Olive Garden. I worked at Olive Garden for 3 years. And I was a host, and so you talk about Italian restaurants, that was kind of my thing. I never wanted to be a tipped employee. I thought I really wanted to control the entire dining room. I wanted to have, you know, it was all about a power and ego trip at that time, and this was in the late 80s. And I absolutely loved it. I loved working at Olive Garden, the first real time that I had an opportunity in restaurants. And then something happened. While I was doing that at night, I was going to school to be a musician. I wasn't going to ultimately work forever in hospitality. I thought I was going to be a professional singer. And so I went to school, and I did actually get my music performance and education degree, my AA degree. But I found something out when I was going through school, that to actually make a living, you actually had to be good. So I changed careers a little bit. You know, they say that those that can't do teach. So I became a middle school teacher. I did that for 6 years. I was a substitute teacher for 4 years. Absolutely loved it. Loved it. My hair in those days did not go up, it went down. I could sit on my hair at 2 different times. I was rocking the mullet. Long, I had a full beard, I had a dangling 80s earring. So Matt, and I'm a short, youthful looking guy, right? I'm looking just like the kids in there. Some of them are taller than I am in middle school, and they're cocky, they think they know everything, but so do I. So I walk in the room and they're looking, they're like, "You're our sub? Yes, let's go, free." And it was great, and it was fun, and it was exciting. And so then somebody gave me some responsibilities. That my last 2 years of teaching school, I became like a dean of students. It was in-school suspension. So I don't know if you're in your states, do you have in-school suspension when you get in trouble in one class? You have to go to this other class where you sit there and you basically put your head down and sleep all day. But I developed a math program that I forced the students, no matter how bad they were, that they had to do these things. And I got a lot of credit for that, and it was fun. But then things started to happen along the way. I mean, and this again was in the early 90s, late 80s, where people literally were cussing at me, they'd spit at you. You had to deal with emotionally handicapped, severe emotionally disabled kids. I had to restrain students. It started to take a little bit of the fun away from the educational side, and I know I was getting a little bit removed from it. But I decided, you know what, I'm going to come back for my 7th year. But in the end of my 6th year, I had to take a summer job because, you know, if you're a teacher, you're not working in the summer. So I went to work at a local Hard Rock cafe. It's the first time I had ever heard of this place. I'd gone to a Hard Rock before, but you know, I'd never really thought about it as a restaurant, but I liked music. And I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go there for a summer job. Again, let my hair grow, make a little bit of money over the summer, try and meet girls. I thought that would be a great opportunity because I was gonna be in the music industry. And that was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, 2 decades. Last month, I celebrated my 20th year with Hard Rock. Last time I ever interviewed, and I started to like, what I started to realize while I was working at Hard Rock, that I started to like that night job a whole lot better than my day job. And I felt like, okay, I'm not teaching music. I did work on my history degree. I worked on children's education. I thought that was gonna be what my BS degree was gonna be in. But there was something so fun and energizing and sexy about working in an environment where there were people that were freaks. I mean, literally with tattoos and blue hair and body piercings and the things that came out of their mouth. I mean, it was the most interesting collection of human beings I'd ever been around. And there was something about that story, that brand, that just attracted me to say, you know, it doesn't really matter. You know, we were talking earlier about the diversity. Diversity in the way that you look, the way that you think, the way that you act, that you can say whatever you want to and look the way that you want to, and it doesn't really matter what you look like. We care what you contribute. And somebody loved me enough to say, I will accept you how you are as long as that you're passionate and you're committed about whatever it is that we're working on.